Welcome back to the Knifebox channel. So let's start off by saying a big thanks to Dirk Werning from the Dirk Werning YouTube channel. I always like Dirk's channel, and him and I have become friends over the YouTube knife community, and I always go over there for just the variety of playlists and knives. I mean, if you kind of imagined of what you wanted to buy nowadays, it's probably been on Dirk's channel. So do yourself a favor and go subscribe to him. So we've all heard the legend of the Chupacabra, a mysterious creature native to North and South Americas. Today's feature, we will be discussing the North American variety. Meet the Old Dominion Chupacabra XL. Because here in America, bigger is better. Meet Casey Middleton. He has been a knife maker since 2015, and he's based out of Richmond, Virginia. Casey builds some very amazing and unique custom knives. What makes Casey stand out to me from other knife makers is his willingness to pretty much try anything and push the envelope when it comes to design. And it really shows in Casey's work. His variety of designs and materials can keep any creative eye and creative mind entertained for quite a while. So if you want to make something cool, go check out Casey. I also want to add his prices are quite fair for the work that you get. Casey always is there too when you need something repaired, or let's face it, if you just want to change something up. The best part is Casey's got great communication, and that's been my experience so far since I've known Casey for quite a few years. And don't just take my word for it, check out his Facebook group as well, and you'll see a similar kind of review. So meet the blade, meet the Chupacabra model. I think the Chupacabra is Casey's most successful design, and it also happens to be my favorite. This XL version, which belongs to Dirk, is quite a unique piece from the other ones that I've seen. Most of all, the ones that you'll see in the wild will be the 3.75-inch variety. And there's also quite a few minis kind of sprouting along. But for the most part, you're going to see this 3.75-inch, and oh yeah, look at this 4.5 XXL version that he just did recently. That thing is a monster. So how does it cut? The blade is actually quite interesting on this piece. It has a 4-inch classic drop point profile, and at this size, it's what I consider rather large for a folding pocket knife. The blade is composed of a double-clad Sanmai, and it comes from Gambler Custom Steel. And I kind of find this steel kind of unique compared to other Sanmai Damascus, as the Damascus is actually the core or the inside versus the jacket like other standard steels. It also is coupled with a nice healthy forward finger choil. And I like this because it allows for a good forward positioning and a good positive grip, along with some excellent control with this blade that's rather large in the first place. Having the choil on some knives does kind of remove the cutting edge, but let's face it, this one still has a very healthy cutting edge. The blade also features a typical full flat grind, which I prefer over typical saber grinds. Flat grinds kind of tend to go through material easier. And as far as the thickness behind the edge, here it is, guys. Overall, I would kind of guess this is going to be quite the cutter. but I don't know. It's not my knife. So despite the large size of this knife, it carries quite well. Contributing to this would be the smooth scales made of the large weave carbon fiber, that's this aerospace grade stuff from AJ Carbon Composites. This smooth material allows ease in and out of the pocket. Another factor is the smooth design of the 3D pocket clip, which is made of this pretty Damascus. The positioning of the clip is fine. It's not designed to be a deep carry clip, and part of the handle is exposed and allows pulling the knife out of the pocket fairly easy. Last, the weight. Being an overall knife of this length, it's surprising to me even at this weight. Due to the carbon fiber construction of the handles and the reholstering of the knife is really no issue, although I will say the spring does have quite a bit of retention, and I think that's another possibly positive thing for a knife of this size. I guess you don't want to get this thing jumping out of your pocket. This particular model is equipped with a dual thumb stud, and I find this to be the most conventional deployment method of any pocket knife, but you may disagree with me. It allows for a nice controlled roll open or even thumb flick for a rapid opening, similar to like an automatic. Having the dual thumb stud also means you can spidey flick the knife open, which is my favorite method. Lastly, how is the fitment and the finish work? There are differences in the tools and machines knife makers use and utilize to get different finishes and different techniques that they use on certain materials to accomplish different tasks. And no two makers are equal in any particular department. Casey prides himself on making knives and making them by hand rather than machinery. Not using CNC or not having parts produced by someone else and then him finishing them by hand. Casey does everything all by himself. This particular Chupacabra model here has been finished really nicely, starting up front with the blade. We see a beautiful etched accent the layers of the Damascus core, and only the sharp areas of the blade, which is the cutting edge, are the sharp areas. Next, moving on to the pivot area. For a pop of color, a pivot color was added and the hardware was fitted up nicely on this one. I must say, even nicer than my older model. This one's flush. The pivot colors are made of ivory paper micarta, and the handle's been nicely sanded, even though it's got these really thick ply carbon fiber in its appearance. There's no voids that I can feel anywhere. The pocket clip's also been nicely contoured and finished, and there's no sharp edges on that either. What I really like about these hand-finished type knives, you can really feel the hand tailoring in them, especially in Casey's knives. And I like the overall fit and finish of a personal fitted knife myself. So now, let's go on to the tabletop wrap-up. Alright guys, we're back, and we're going to do our tabletop wrap-up portion of this video. So I thought I'd bring out my Chupacabra against Dirk's here so you guys can see what a medium to an XL kind of looks like. Again, this is going to be the common size, so if you guys see one for sale out there in the standard size, this is what you're going to be expecting. This is the XL, and again, earlier in the video you saw that big old monster XXL. So who knows what Casey makes? He may make a triple XL, who knows? Anyways, let's get back to this one right here. So a couple things that stand out about this knife for me. I've kind of mentioned all the specs and everything, so we're not going to talk about that too much, but a couple things to highlight. First of all, that blade. That blade is freaking awesome, and he does that well on all of his knives. But what he did really well with this one is everything. The choil is just nicely done. It's got a beautiful edge on it. It's got a absolutely stunning edge on it, and it's even on both sides. Everything's nice and flush and no voids. It's comfortable. I mean, just a really nice knife. Now, that's the other thing that kind of stood out to me. I'm kind of used to this guy right here, right? This has been my knife for years. When I hold this knife, I'm just kind of used to it, and it's always comfortable. I can kind of choke up on it, get on top of whatever I want to cut, and I can even hold it back here and just still feel like I got plenty of blade control, which is quite cool. This big old monster has the exact same feel to it, and it might be contributing to this forward finger choil that helps get on top of that blade. I mean, I can get even more forward on this guy than I can on that little guy right there.
From there, all the way down to there.
Or medium-sized guy. Anyways, I don't think that guy is going to like me calling him the little guy, is he? So let's leave him out here so you guys can see him. So that's the amazing thing. This one is amazingly comfortable for me. And this one is just as amazingly comfortable despite the large size. So that was another thing to highlight. The blade steel is kind of weird and kind of cool. You'll find this more on culinary blades, and actually you'll find it on some outdoor blades too. It's kind of tough stuff. More of what I'm used to as far as Sanmai Damascus is when you have like a really like hardcore steel, right? Like the core layer. In this case, this one's CPM Rex 121. It's a really hard tool steel with crazy edge retention. But being that it's a tool steel and it's got a lot of carbon in it, it kind of tends to rust easy, right? So you gotta oil the blade, but then to kind of help you along, they put a Damascus stainless steel jacket over it. So that kind of protects the blade in its overall integrity in a sense, right? So, and you can see the core usually right there on the flipper tang or on the spine of the blade where it kind of meets together. So yeah, that's kind of more of traditionally what I'm used to. Instead, this one's the exact opposite. Here you got a mono steel as the jacket, which is fine. And then you got a Damascus layer here as your cutting steel, which is kind of cool. You can see Casey's edge is ever so fine. Just a really nice clean edge. Yeah, just an awesome knife, guys. Really, really awesome knife. So let's do some size comparison. Now in Dirk's video, he did mention that this was a bit large for him.
I really do like it. I just think it might be a little big for me today.
That's what she said.
Michael, please.
So I thought I'd bring out a few of my knives just to show that it's a big knife, but I mean, really? Too big for Dirk? So let's bring out some of these guys here. I don't know, man. Is the Sablia big enough? Is that going to dwarf it? These are a couple of Russian here. You know, why not? Let's bring out another one from Mechanic Knives here out of Russia. Yeah. Here's the Sablia from Custom Knife Factory. Oh, hell. Here, let's bring this guy out here. How about a Custom K2 from England, from Farid Mayer? There you go, guys. So again, not that big, but pretty big nonetheless.
That's what she said. Or he said.
All right, so that'll kind of give you a size idea. I'm going to put it up against some kind of more regular EDC size knives, something you guys are more familiar with. Some of the stuff that's out on the market right now, like this Custom Knife Factory Evo 2.0, kind of a medium-sized knife right there. Here's the Spyderco Leash Buoy. Another kind of good, and again, medium to large size hands. You can see how this leash buoy fits. It's a nice, good size type knife and blade, right? Like good amount of reach. But yeah, here it is compared to the Chupacabra. So here's the overall length comparison, so you can kind of get an idea here. Let's scoot this guy up here and do one more. Let's do the 8015 from Demco Knives. I know that's a popular one. A lot of people have handled. And it's the exact same size as the production and same dimensions. So there you have it. Those are going to be your size comparisons to the more kind of medium size EDC knives. So not too bad. But you definitely get quite a bit more blade, right? So anyways, that'll kind of wrap things up for my tabletop wrap up. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys like the new format, and please leave comments down below. If you guys haven't already, again, subscribe, hit that bell notification, check out Dirk's channel, and we'll see you guys all on the next one.